Welcome to Ozarks Fox News at 9. I'm Jennifer Abreu.
And I'm John Adams. Thanks for being with us tonight. These stories are real new now. The framework for the Democrats' Green New Deal rolled out today. Lawmakers behind it include freshman New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The non-binding resolution calls for a 10-year plan addressing climate change, wealth redistribution, and single-payer health care for all. It would also make the U.S. carbon neutral in 10 years.
House Intelligence Committee Chair Adam Schiff announces a new inquiry into the president's finances and the scope and scale of Russia's interference in the 2016 election. The president calling it on Twitter today, quote, unlimited presidential harassment. But Schiff says he's just doing his job.
And in Venezuela, the government has blocked the bridge that connects the country to Colombia. The blockage put in place by the Venezuelan government is stopping the delivery of humanitarian aid from being delivered. The aid was requested by Venezuela's opposition leader and self-declared president, Juan Guaido. The current president, Nicolas Maduro, is rejecting that aid for his crisis-stricken country. Well, new at 9 tonight. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, in 1970, kids didn't start regularly watching TV until about the age of 4.
Well, today they reported that children start connecting with digital media at 4 months old. Our Frances Lynn reports on the harmful cognitive and physical effects of too much screen time too early.
Some negative impacts include lack of social skills, behavioral problems, and bad eyesight.
As human beings, we're absorbing everything around us. We're observational learners, and having screen time in place of appropriate stimulation means that we're passively learning what's on that screen.
Psychologist Reena Patel says kids need to learn social skills in real life, not on screens.
What we've seen over the years is when young adults are sitting, even adults are sitting for interviews with potential jobs, that they're learning some of those basic social cues and gestures, as simple as an eye contact or reaching out to shake a hand. They're so used to looking down at their screens that they're losing some of those human characteristics that is so important to have, life skill.
In addition to social and cognitive impacts, optometrist Corey Scalal tells me the physical impacts on eyesight.
The biggest thing we're worried about kind of over the long haul is with children being exposed to electronics and that light at such a younger age, we're worried about the prolonged effects and increase of macular degeneration over time.
Some ways to prevent this from happening include limiting screen time and using blue light blockers.
Blue light glasses can do a lot to protect our eyes.
There is per age a recommended usage, limiting to no more than an hour to 2 hours max per day.
Patel and Scalal both say parents need to help their kids.
You can't deny kids technology. It's going to be their world.
Screens are never going to go away.
But I think, trying to limit the use and do some other things throughout the day, is beneficial for not only the eyes, but, also our brains too.
We've just got to be proactive as parents to embed it appropriately in our everyday schedule, our everyday life.
Patel provides more ways to communicate with your kids about screen times on our website, ozarksfirst.com.
Thank you, Francis. We have some new information for you now. Missouri will kick off a massive overhaul of deteriorating bridges on Interstate 44.
Sensors in the project, it will actually monitor traffic flow. When traffic flow gets to a certain speed, it will implement different messages on the CMS boards notifying customers of the delay ahead.
MoDOT is focusing on 19 bridges in Jasper and Lawrence counties and will try to minimize the headaches for drivers. Lane closings will be focused overnight to minimize traffic jams, and smart work zone technology will warn drivers what's ahead. Work is expected to start this spring and wrap up in December of 2021.
A funeral for a former Navy SEAL killed by ISIS in Syria brings hundreds of strangers together in St. Louis.
I just wanted to stop and just see the proceedings and just pay my respects, because I think it's very, very sad.
If they can do that for us and give their lives, we can certainly tolerate a little cold and a little rain to be here for them and the family.
Scott Wirtz was laid to rest Wednesday, and plenty of people who never met him came out to pay their respects. Close to 1,000 people showed up, a procession route close to 15 miles long. The The 42-year-old served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He was working for the Defense Intelligence Agency when he was killed along with 3 others in a suicide bombing.
We have some developing stories for you now. Gucci is apologizing after a wool sweater has been pulled from their lineup due to complaints it resembles blackface makeup. The Italian company posted a statement on Twitter yesterday apologizing for the sweater and saying, quote, "We are fully committed to increasing diversity throughout our organization and turning this incident into a powerful learning moment for the Gucci team and beyond."
A Georgia man accused of scamming his friends and family over Super Bowl tickets arrested in California.
He's known these people for many years, and he's made a lot of contacts. He's sat on a lot of boards, active in his church organizations, and made contacts with people. So he has gotten people legitimate tickets before to sporting events.
48-year-old Keaton Shaw was arrested at a casino in California and was charged with felony theft by conversion. The prominent Atlanta businessman is accused of exploiting his victims of hundreds of thousands of dollars. According to police, Shaw offered to sell Super Bowl tickets to his victims, but once he was paid, he cut off communication. He even scammed his own mother. Police say that Shaw is expected to face more charges after he arrives back in Georgia.
Well, continuing with our weather coverage now. Over the last 48 hours, our weather has showed it doesn't take much time to appear in many different forms.
We had tornado warnings that went right into snow and ice, and high winds have left their mark across Missouri and Arkansas. Our Jesse Inman joining us now. Jesse, we had people in all corners of the area feeling the effects of this odd weather.
Yeah, it definitely was. That's right, guys. But let's not forget that we were in the 60s on Monday, but let's take you back to last night and show you how many variations the weather came in last night and what it did to our community.
All right, tornado warning has been issued for Berry County.
At 11:07 Wednesday night, we broke into coverage for tornado warnings in southwest Missouri, but that was just the beginning.
Now, what's incredible about this is that this circulation is moving northeast at roughly 85 miles per hour.
By 11:45, Springfield was getting the effects of the rain that it brought, and it also dumped hail that came in different sizes in the surrounding area. Those in El Dorado Springs were coated with ice, which took down trees, leaving crews to restore power while many thawed out in warming centers. In Yellville, Arkansas, a confirmed EF1 tornado injured 1 person, leaving roofs flattened and trapping 1 family in their home. In Missouri, things weren't much better. Marshfield firefighters spent time in the changing elements battling a house fire, in which crews say was likely struck by lightning. Fortunately, no one was hurt in that incident. In Springfield, at least 1 person had a tree branch knocking on his door, with branches blown all over the yard. And it was a bad night to be a car in Springfield, too, as strong gusts left windshields wiped out by limbs. On Seminole, a man crashed this car into a tree that high winds had already uprooted, sending him to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And this car was pounded by a power pole near Glenstone and Grand. No one injured there. But incidents like that came with widespread outages, which CU has worked on throughout the day to restore most of the power in the area, all while snow fell steadily throughout the day and temperatures dropped down to the frigid teens, reminding us that winter hasn't gone anywhere. And that snow's still blowing around outside in much of the area right now as we bundle up tonight. And here in a few minutes, Jamie is going to show us what's ahead after a wild week where Missouri has not been able to make up its mind.
Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, you just never know here in the Ozarks. Well, those severe storms we saw last night were strong enough to actually push a freight train, yes, a freight train, off the tracks near Cape Girardeau. 13 train cars were knocked over in the town of Dexter. A gas line was broken in the crash, requiring workers at a nearby lumber building to evacuate. Amazingly, no one was hurt, but officials are working to get things back upright to prevent any hazardous materials from leaking in that incident. Well, we've been talking about it all night, Jamie. Crazy night last night, and now snow's falling outside.
Yeah, and it looks like Mother Nature has decided, you know what, we're just going to stick with the winter for a while. We're going to find a cold finish to the week, and it looks like that cold will linger into the weekend long enough for the next storm to arrive and generate maybe some wintry precipitation once again across the Ozarks. We'll talk more about that wintry threat after the break.
You're watching Ozarks Fox.